So hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to continue our water delivery app project. We just have started and we have made 2 videos on it. So in the previous video, we have learned how to use the real-time database. We have created the real-time database and stored our message codingpursuits.com. So in this video, we will go one step forward and we will create our sign up activity. So this is our sign up activity, and here user will register on this activity by getting his email and password and phone number. So we will use the custom authentication method of Firebase database. So we will add this user and with the help of custom authentication, we will store our custom data into our real-time database. So if you have not yet watched my previous video, so it is recommended to watch that video first and then come to this video. So if you already have knowledge about the real-time database, you can skip the previous video and just start right here. So guys, if you are new to our channel, then it is a request to please subscribe to our channel, support us in this journey, and stay tuned and watch the video till the end. So okay guys, now let's come towards designing our sign up activity. For this, I will have to create the sign up activity. From new, go to the activity, select empty activity and name it as sign up activity. Click finish button. Let's wait a while until Android Studio is creating the resource file and the class file for us. So guys, our class is ready. And from here, so let's minimize some windows to see the things clearly. And from here, let's start the designing process. For this, I will have to select an image and place it here. And from the images, let's select the logo, click OK. So let's resize it so that we can easily give it constraints. So, and from the width, let's give its width 0 dp matching constraints, and from the height we will give 100 dp, and let's give some height from here, and from here give its, so we have given it the aspect ratio here. And from the horizontal bias, let's give some bias to look it nice. So 13 is okay for me. And now let's drag a text view. And let's give its constraints. And from the width, give its matching constraints. Let's give it some size here. So 30 dp is okay. And from here, let's control its text style. And in the text, we will write welcome, so that any user who is coming for the first time will receive this welcome. So now we will have to design the text view here so that user can give its input here. And we will give the hint as username. Let's give its constraints here. And from the width, give the matching constraints. Let's give some left and right margin 10 dp to give its appropriate look. So guys, in the same way, let's design the text field for the password and other fields as well. So first of all, give its ID as edit text username. and give the top margin as 30 dp. And in the same way, give the matching constraints. And in the name, delete the text and give the hint as password. Now let's take another input. But before that, let's give its ID as edit text password. Delete the text and give it as ID as mobile number. And in the same way, finally, we will create text field for our email. So guys, the text field for taking the username, password, mobile number and email is completed. Now let's drag a button here so that when a user will click on this button and he will get registered. Let's give its appropriate constraint just like we have created for our text fields. And from here, select the matching constraints. Now let's give the style for this button just like we have created for our sign up button. The background will be drawable button sign up. And in the same way, we will control the tint for null so that we can see its appearance here. So guys, as you can see here, our sign up screen is completed. Now let's write the code to see this sign up screen. For this, we will go into the welcome screen because after seeing the splash screen, we are navigated to this welcome screen. And in the sign up button, we will write the code to go to the sign up activity. And now let's start the activity. Now let's click and flash this application into our emulator to check its appearance. So we are seeing our splash screen, and after that we have our welcome screen, and from here click on sign up. And you can see here there is some problem with our constraints, but luckily we are navigated to our sign up screen. Let's troubleshoot this error. And we are missing this constraint. And let's give it 30 dp constraints. Let's check its constraint. Yes, it has the constraints, but its top margin constraints was missing. Now let's compile again and check our application. And you can see here our expected sign up screen is here. So okay guys, now let's come back and add the backend code for this sign up screen. We will make the instance for these edit text, and we'll set the mechanism for taking the input from the users on this screen. For this, we will go into the signup activity.java file And here we will make 4 edit text for our 4 input fields. In the same way, let's initialize these edit text instance with corresponding IDs. Now let's make the callback function for this button click events. And allocate the sign up button click event to this button. For this, we will go into the code, and in the button we will give on click event. So when the user will click on this button, we will get the callback in this method. Now let's make string variable to get the text from these text fields. So we have successfully got the text from these edit text fields. And now let's make a check so that when a user has entered nothing or the edit text fields are empty and user click on sign up button, we will notify the user to enter specific mandatory details. Let's do it. So here when the edit text for the username is empty and user click on sign up button, we will notify the user to enter the username and we will request the focus so that user can be able to see where he has to enter the corresponding details. In the same way, let's add for password. Now let's add another check. If he has not entered the password for specific length, we will notify the user to add at least 6 characters of password. So okay guys, now let's compile and build the application and see the behavior. For this, let's build the application. So here, now let's click on sign up button and we have our sign up screen. And when I'm going to click this button, you can see here I am getting notification that I have not entered the detail for username, password, mobile and email. Just we have added the checks here. So everything is working fine. Now let's make a model class for taking the input for this email, password, mobile number and sign up detail. For this, I will make a class here which is called the model class, and the name will be user because I am going to register a user here. And now let's make some variable here for username password. And now let's make an empty constructor. So that if user do not want to initialize any data, he can use the empty constructor. But for practical cases, we will initialize our data with this constructor. Let me correct for username only. So guys, we have created here the model class for the user, and we have initialized the corresponding data with the constructor. So okay guys, our user class is created. Now it's time to add the Firebase authentication mechanism in our Android project. So in the previous video, we have learned the real-time database management and database storing and fetching data from the real-time Firebase database. But in this video, we will use the Firebase authentication method for user to sign up and sign in. This is the built-in mechanism and very easy. So for this, we will have to open the Firebase Assistant. From tools, select the Firebase, and from the assistant, we will find the authentication tab. And we are seeing here a lot of different mechanisms for authenticating the user with the Google sign-in, Facebook sign-in, and custom authentication system. So we will use the custom authentication system because we have to add different fields and different types of data storing in our database. Click on this. And here we have connected the Firebase with our application in the previous video. And in the second step, you will have to add the Firebase authentication SDK to your app. So I already have added the SDK. You will find the button here. You will have to click that button, and dependencies will be added after building the Gradle, and it will take some time. So I already have done this. And in the third step, you can skip this step because you already have connected and created the real-time database in our previous video. So these steps are automatically added in your project. So from here, we will have to add this code. This is the built-in code. You just simply have to copy this code and paste in your desired activity, and authentication will be started. But before that, we will have to enable the authentication in our Firebase console. For this, open the Firebase. And from here, click on console. Click on our project. And from here, we can find the authentication tab. And here we have to set up sign-in method. Click on this, and we have a lot of authentication mechanism provided by the Firebase. So we simply have to select this email password, which is disabled currently. Click on it, and from here you just have to enable it and simply save it. So our email password authentication is enabled. Now let's come to our code and go into the sign up activity, and let me hide this tab. And from here we will have to copy this Firebase auth global variable and paste it here. So click on it and press Alt plus Enter button, and its dependencies will be added. And in the same way, let's initialize this authentication object in the onCreate method. So we also can use the following code as it is, but currently we are going to sign up with email and password. So for this we will write some our code, and from the sign up button, when the user will click on this sign up, it will check the data fields and if all the data is entered correctly. But before that, let me add a progress bar here so that when a user will click on the sign up button, our loader will be appeared on the screen and it will do the background work, and when the user is successfully logged in or sign up, the loader will be vanished away. For this we will come into the sign up activity. From the design mode, we will search for the progress bar, and you can see here we have to select this progress bar, paste here, and let me set its constraints so that it will be centered in the screen. And from its visibility, we will set its visibility gone so that when we will come on the screen, this will be vanished away. So now let's come into the code, and when the user will click on this button, we will have to make this progress bar appear. But before that, let me take the instance of progress bar. And let me set the progress bar visibility to visible. Now we have the Firebase auth instance already set up, and we have to. So now it's time to authenticate our user by using the create email and password authentication mechanism. For this we will have to call the method create user with email and password, and from here we will add the email and password we just have taken from the user here, email and password, in the same way. And it's a good practice to add the complete listener here so that when this task will be completed, we will receive our complete listener here, new on complete listener results, and from here when this task will be completed, we will receive this callback, and from here we will check if the task is successful. Then we will make a toast to the user that the user is successful. And here I am receiving this error. We will have to write here signup.activity.this, and we also make our progress bar which is visible here before signup. We will set its visibility to gone so that after successfully registering the user, it should gone. Now this is why we'll get via Firebase authentication. Now it's time to use the real-time database for storing additional data, because this method only takes the email and password, but rest of the data we just have initialized and we have to use in later stages, that is username, phone number, email, etc. For this I will create the instance of my user class I just have created. So we have successfully created our user, And from here we will have to take the instance of our real-time database, Firebase database. And here for the reference we will use the name as users, and we will add its child, and from here we will get the Firebase auth current user, which is just currently signed up, and its ID, so that the data will be stored against the user ID, and we will set its value to user. We just have created the instance of user. Now the only ID of the user, which is got via create user email with password, will be stored against user, and the rest of the data of the user will be added to our real-time database. And from here we can add its complete listeners as well. And we can check if the task is completed. We can make the toss to the user that the user is registered successfully. Otherwise, we will show the user registered, user failed to register. And in the same way, if there is an error, let me complete this statement, and in the same way, if we get the error here, task is not completed, we will also print the same log here. And let me complete the statement. So okay guys, now let's add the final step, that is we have to show this toast by adding the show here. So guys, now let's build and compile this application to check. And from here click on sign up activity, and here we will have to add our user. Let me add the user at coding.pursuits, and the password can be 123456. So okay, one thing we just have noted that we have not masked the password, so we will do it in next video. So the mobile number will be 123456-789, anything according to your city. And from here we will have to add a valid email, admin@codingpursuits.com, and from here we will click on this sign up button, and the loading is appearing, and you can see here user registered successfully. So let's come into our Firebase console, and here we have to refresh this authentication dashboard. Okay, you can see here our admin@codingpursuits user ID is stored in our authentication, and the rest of the data will be appeared in real-time database. So as in the code, we have created this user node, and we are seeing this user here, and with this code we have got the user ID. To add the child, you can see here our child of user is the user ID of our authentication. This is the ID, and this ID is automatically got and stored here in our custom real-time database, and rest of the data, our email, phone number, username and password is stored here. So guys, if you are seeing some error here, you are getting the toast user failed to register, you will have to double check it, that we have to enable the sign up method, email, password, and second thing, you have created the real-time database here, and you have to check the rules here. This rule should be set to read and write as true. You can edit it here. So these three things are mandatory. If you are confused about these three things, you can check out my previous video where I have taught how to create this real-time database and store the data into this database. So guys, hope you have enjoyed the video. So this is enough for this session. In the next video, we will make a tweak in this activity and we will create our sign in, forgot password activity and rest of the data. So stay tuned and please like, share our video, comment on our video and subscribe to our channel.